Who do you think is the hardest working bodybuilder in the industry that you've witnessed personally, that you know of?
How it's working?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I do think that Hadi Chupan
Mm-hmm.
uh, would be. I've seen some of his training, and I see he's in shape year around. Um, Again, this is just what I think. Seeing from outside, I very much like Ian Valier. I see how he trains, and it's something,
Yeah.
but to be respected. Sean Clarita, oh my God,
Mm-hmm.
Sean Clarita. He would pick up the heavier dumbbells than he weighs
Mm-hmm.
and do 10 reps like above his head. I mean, it's unthinkable. Those super determined. I don't know. I mean, you said Nick Walker. I don't know how he trains. Matt Jansen is creating, great things from his camp, and I could only assume that Nick Walker is training very hard because he's improving dramatically. And so I want to make that clear. I very much like and respect Nick Walker. I was saying something in the previous interview, like he doesn't have aesthetics and shape. But then in Anno Classic, I was the first one to come to him and said, "Look, you made me believer. You won this show." Before prejudging, he was standing right next to Steve Kuklo, and Steve Kuklo was supposed to be 1 and 2 for. I said, "Like you won the show." I mean, for me, that was so dominant, and not dominating with aesthetics because he doesn't have that, but he was dominating with all the other aspects, and that has to be accounted for. Size, and.
Have you ever met a bodybuilder in your career who was so genetically gifted that even though you thought they didn't train hard enough or dieted hard enough, they still were incredible?
Yeah, I trained him, Flex Wheeler. Flex Wheeler, he is so genetically gifted, it's ridiculous. Uh, if you didn't hear it, in 2003, I trained him for like 3 weeks, and he was blowing up not from day to day, but minute to minute, and using super lightweight. And I couldn't push him with some great intensity because he was out of shape. But the changes were just ridiculous. So yeah, he would be the one that not training too hard. He created that. I think that Kevin Levrone would be another great example, but with due respect, I have to say that when he trained heavy, but Kevin was known to take a 6 months off. And even now, and again, I mentioned Jay Cutler, probably hardest working bodybuilder, so let's just give a little credit to Jay. I asked Jay after the contest, did you ever take, some time off? They say, hell no. He would use that rebound period to grow. So he would never take time off. And that was like a discussion with Dennis Wolf and then maybe about Regan. Should he take some time off? I never took a time off. And I competed 72 times as a pro. And I couldn't wait for a show to be over so I can be in that rebound period that I can actually, be in caloric surplus and train and actually grow in front of my eyes. So Jay Cutler, perfect example of, he confirmed it, measuring his food and calories even in off season, not missing a meal, not missing a workout. And Jay was 4 times Mr. Olympia, right? But he was like 6 times runner-up. So just think about if Jay Cutler converted these runner-up positions to Sandor titles, he would be most successful bodybuilder of all time. And he was not genetically gifted. Yeah. As a matter of fact, I said that if I was when I saw him '96, if somebody would tell me this is going to be Mr. Olympia, I would probably bet my left and the right arm and says there's no way, because that was in the '90s when you have Ronnie and Flex and Sean and Kevin and Chris
Nick
Cormier.
Walker might be heading in that direction also, like Jay Cutler.
Could be. Listen, a lot of people say that, and his popularity is off the charts. So I know that Nick Walker fans, when they hear me say anything remotely that maybe doesn't sound positive, therefore negative, they would be pissed off at me. But hey, Nick Walker cannot outshape some of the guys, but he would be able to out muscle, out condition, and have that freak factor. And then it's going to be up to judges to decide.
What's the craziest body transformation you've seen from somebody, like in a year or even a few months that you've seen somebody transform their body?
Oh, yeah, I mentioned most ridiculous growth of Flex Wheeler from 208 skinny fat into 245, and then going down to like 237 for the show in a matter of 3 weeks. So that would be one. Then, of course, Ronnie Coleman in 2003. How can you not mention this? And I remember seeing Ronnie Coleman. He would come to my gym every year for all these photo shoots. I know what I saw 2002, and not just that I saw him for Olympia. I traveled with him. I saw him in Amsterdam when he won the show. Chris Cormier was second, Dennis James third. And then he went to GNC and he lost to Gunter. That was 2002 version of Ronnie. 2003 version of Ronnie showed up in my gym, and I mean, we all were, breathless. That was like, oh my God. So yeah, that was the biggest transformation.
A lot of people don't talk about that Gunter beat Ronnie when Ronnie was already Mr. Olympia. Like, I interviewed Gunter about that actually, but that kind of like nobody really talks about that in the history of bodybuilding. We actually brought it up in an interview with him. It's important, I think, no?
Yeah, fair and square. Of course, Ronnie's gonna never accept that he lost. That judges gave it to Gunter. They had probably enough reasons. Gunter shined at the 2002 Olympia. Nobody expected him to be in top 10. I think with the way he looked, he could have won Olympia 2002. The way he looked. You see, this is how people are just myopic and they don't see far. Put him right next to he could be top 6. No. Now compare those top 6. There is an argument that Gunter could win 2006 Olympia, and probably many judges saw that. So now going to the GNC show, they would give him a much better look, and they did. And he beat many guys that beat him at Olympia, and he actually dethroned Ronnie. And I think at that moment, that was never to be expected that somebody can beat Ronnie. So now, after this happened, they created hype for the Olympia. Can Gunter repeat it? And then 2003, Jay Cutler convincingly won that Ironman and Arnold Classic, and he looked like a freak. Now there was like 2 guys that can really contest Ronnie for a title, because let's face it, 2000, 2001, 2002 version of Ronnie was good, but not that 98, 99, and 2003 dominated. He left a room that somebody can speak in, like Kevin Levrone in this one of the shows, and it was wide open. But when Ronnie showed up at that photo shoot, like 3 months before the Olympia, and I've seen Jay and I've seen Gunter's reaction right there in front of me, they lost right that day, because when he showed up, he was inhumane. This was ridiculous.